A badge of honor. Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But that's not how it feels today, and the stress of the job is taking its toll, taking lives through suicide and post-traumatic stress injury. A Badge of Honor podcast features the cast of the same name, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno. Sam, John, and the team offer the first responders workshops through their critical incident stress management teams and mental health liaisons to offer state-certified T-COLE credit programs that save lives. It's time to smash through the stigma. It's time to heal from your injury, and it's time to back our blue. Welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast. Here are your hosts, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. And welcome to, May is just overloaded. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is Memorial Day month. And it is, what else is it? It's
National Police Week.
National Police Week, which is today.
Yesterday, with the memorial
today is National Police Week. So we are here powered by the OBBM network. Tuning to us on all your favorite podcast channels. Today we have an amazing show. We have an amazing guest who is part of our network with Carry the Load. But before we start anything, man, because he's a sergeant major in the military, and you know what? The military stuff is with all this woke agenda has really pissed me off. I'm going to say it right now. And there is a hotel. I don't know if you guys have been watching it because I'm sure they ain't putting it on CNN or NBC, MSNBC or all those other ones. But they kicked out 20 combat homeless vets trying to transition back into society, right? They kicked them out of a hotel, and the hotel is the Crossroads Hotel in Newburgh, Orange County, New York. All right. Mayor Adams shipped the homeless, shipping the migrants that are coming in. Now, New York, the sanctuary city that it always claimed to be, because now they say they're overloaded, they can't do it no more. They ship them to this hotel in Orange County, New York, and they kick these combat veterans out of the hotel. And here's the thing, and it's all about money. It's all about money because I did a little research because the Crossroads Hotel is filing for like Chapter 11, everything else, all these bankruptcy things. And for the veterans to stay there, it costs $90 a night. Housing the migrants there, it's $190 a night per person. So you do the math. And they're loading up all the rooms. So they kicked these guys out on the street with 1 day notice, said, sorry, you got to go. And they're busting all these migrants in to the hotel. So listen, if you feel that you need to speak up and talk to somebody over at the Crossroads Hotel, you can reach them at 845-567-0567. Call them up and see if you can book a hotel room there. And tell them you're a migrant. Maybe you'll get special rates. So thank you, Crossroads Hotel, for kicking our combat veterans out on the street and making way for people that aren't even members of this country, have never done a thing for this country except come in here and freeload. So that's my rant for today.
It is. We got another bone to pick with another city after last week. Yes. We announced the Frisco Fire Department, the city council in Frisco, and the mayor decided to fire their assistant chief, who is in the midst of battling mental health. It was something that was known to the fire department, known to the city council, and let's treat our first responders the same way by, hey, thanks for your service to the city for almost 30 years. You're fired now.
Yep.
It goes on. And John, you said this happened. You sent me the link last night in Minnesota, correct?
Minnesota, a young police officer who is battling post-traumatic stress has been asking for help. And finally, they turned around and said, well, we're not giving you help. And they fired him. They fired this young cop. I think he had maybe 6-7 years on a job. They fired him from the police force for asking for help. So the stigma out there, folks, it's real. The mental health stigma is real. And a lot of these big departments, even the small departments, are playing these smoke and mirror games with with the lives of our first responders. Our military is doing the same thing. They're not giving the mental health treatment that is so deserved to our heroes who battle for us each and every day. They are battling each and every day themselves, within themselves, and we have to stand up for them, because if they speak up, you see what's happening? They speak up, they're getting fired. They're losing their job, and that's putting them down a rabbit hole that we don't want to have to pull them out of, you know? So I'm begging our leaders, stand up, you know, for our first responders. Stand up for our veterans. These are our heroes of our country. You see it every single day. The law enforcement is being beaten down by so many entities through our social justice. You look at that, our Marine veteran in New York City who went to help somebody, and now he's being brought up on aggravated manslaughter.
Yep.
By woke DAs, by George Soros DAs. This is horrible, folks. I'm telling you, people are going to be afraid to stand up. You're not going to be able to dial 911. You are going to get exactly what you deserve because you voted these people in.
Yeah, and you know what? In the end, everybody deserves the protection. I mean, we swore an oath. But more importantly, the first responders and the veterans, they deserve peace of mind. They deserve to go to work every day, to know that people have their back. And when things get tough, they also deserve to know that they've got an incredible organizations out there across the United States that are ready, willing, and able to step in, to lend a hand. I talked about it this afternoon when I did my mental health Monday Minute about getting out of your own head and the importance of reaching out into getting reconnected with people, maybe like you, that are first responders or veterans, and going out and doing something together. And our guest today, he is on the forefront. They have been leading the charge, Sheepdog Impact Assistance, for years with their leader, Sergeant Major Lance Nutt. Sergeant Major, welcome to the Badge of Honor podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today.
Yeah, tell everybody who's listening and watching about your incredible background and how you founded Sheepdog Impact Assistance.
Well, as you talk about heroes, I was blessed with the opportunity to grow up surrounded by our nation's heroes. My father was a 20-year Marine naval aviator, a pilot in the Marine Corps, and I was blessed to have him swear me into the Marine Corps the year before he retired. So I share that in saying that I witnessed growing up in the Vietnam era, especially with veterans who were all Vietnam vets. They were my Boy Scout leaders, my sports coaches, my Sunday school teachers, my neighbors, and the power behind the willingness of these men and women to serve their country and sacrifice so much, you know, made an impression upon me at an early age. And then, of course, I joined the Marine Corps. I stay on the ground side. I didn't follow in my father's footsteps on the air, but you know, it stuck with me for years as I continued to serve as a Marine and taking pride in the men and women that I had the pleasure of serving beside. And you know, I'd been in about a year and a half when I shipped off to Desert Shield, Desert Storm, a quick combat stint. You know, it was about as easy of a tour in a combat zone as you could imagine. And I thought, you know, the Cold War had come to an end, a lot of peacetime, and I wrapped up my first 8-9 years in the Marine Corps deciding to get out. And I'd been out less than a year in 2000 when September 11th came about in 2001. And like so many of us, I could not wait to get.
Yep.
Oh. He's going to keep us on the edge of our seats.
On the edge of our seats.
He couldn't wait. I have a feeling he was going to say, "There you go, we got your back."
Yeah. Sorry, in serving and getting back in the Marine Corps after September 11th, I end up in what we consider a war of significance from the standpoint of the toll that it started to take on our servicemen and women. And I can remember coming home after my first combat tour in 2004 and, thinking, this is a time when we need to take pride in our service. Yes, it was very hard in losing fellow Marines and sailors that I had served with. But in coming home with my Marines and sailors and returning to the States, I thought it's now time for us to celebrate what we'd accomplished during that combat tour, and also to remember the men and women that we had lost by living our best lives. And I share that because that's truly what, this month of May is about, and appreciating the men and women that have so willingly served and died for us. But what really shocked me in coming home was at a time when I thought we should be thriving, I started to have fellow Marines and sailors begin killing themselves. And for me, this was a big wake-up call and thinking, okay, one, I started pointing the finger at myself. I started blaming myself, thinking, okay, I had failed these men as a leader. I had not recognized what they were fighting when it came to post-traumatic stress. And then I also started getting angry. This was where my trauma began, because I started trying to take on the weight of the pressure behind why these men had started thinking that, one, they no longer had a purpose, that their lives were over for different reasons, whether it was due to combat injuries, combat stress, or just simply their first tour of duty coming to an end and making a decision to get out of the service. I started blaming myself. I started blaming the Marine Corps. I started blaming our nation. And the anger for me really started to trigger the thought of, why are we not doing more for these great men and women? Why are we not doing more for these heroes, our fellow sheepdogs, men and women that were willing to die for you and I in service to this great nation of ours? And so as I started to face the reality of my own time in the military coming to an end, I continued to serve. Multiple combat tours awaited me, but I was still concerned constantly about the need to do more and do better for our nation's heroes. And so as I got closer to ending a 30-year Marine Corps career, I knew that I was, one, going to need something to catch me, to give me an opportunity to continue giving back. But more importantly, I recognized the importance of finding a better way to help our men and women recover from the trauma that they were facing and giving them an opportunity for continued service. And so the idea for Sheepdog Impact Assistance came about through a lot of my trials and tribulations in the service, but also volunteering during Hurricane Katrina. There was this opportunity to appreciate helping others. Helping is healing. The opportunity to give back. And so again, you talk about another seed being planted for me and going, okay, wow, imagine if I could spend the rest of my life after my time in uniform comes to an end, how powerful that would be for me in having the chance to continue serving my country and the community that I lived in. And so as I got closer to retirement, Sheepdog took roots in my home community in Northwest Arkansas. And as I prepared to retire, this organization took on a life of its own and really resonating with veterans and first responders. And so many of them approaching me and saying, hey, this is exactly what I need in my life. And so that's really where the grassroots efforts of this organization began. And to think about how far we've come from 2010 to today is pretty powerful. And depending on how and where you want me to go with that story, I'll kind of let it lay there for a minute and ask questions or let this kind of flow accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get into more into the organization, the programs that you run. We got to take our first break, so stay tuned, everybody. We will be right back with Sergeant Major Lance Nutt from Sheepdog Impact Assistance.
Move freely, America, without medical restrictions or penalty. Without medical freedom legislation in place, our rights and freedoms are one vote away from being dissolved. Move freely, America, with one voice, without fear of retribution, achieving a common goal, medical freedom. We the people make our voices heard by connecting with state legislators and engaging a constitutionally compliant medical Bill of Rights for all citizens. Individually, change is improbable, but as an aggregate, attainable. It's time to act with one voice. My voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
To protect our freedom, creating one voice that cannot be ignored. This requires your voice, too. Move Freely America. Go to movefreelyamerica.org to find a chapter near you. Plug in, donate, and help our legislators defend our God-given rights under the Constitution. Move Freely America. My voice.
And my voice.
And together with your voice, we're one voice that cannot be ignored. Donate today. MoveFreelyAmerica.org.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. We welcome Sergeant Major Lance Nutt of Sheepdog Assistance Impact. Before we left on a note on your 30-year retirement, the transitions and stuff. I got a twofold question for you, Lance. And this is the mentorship that you grew up with all those people around you, those military members around you. Do you think that aided in how you grew up, having these strong men in church, in school, in Cub Scouts, your dad being a good mentor built you to the person you are today?
Oh, without a doubt. When I say I grew up in the company of heroes, I can't overstate the importance of how that molded me into the man that I ultimately would become, and lead me to truly appreciate the daily sacrifices of the men and women that wear this uniform of service, whether as a service member or as a first responder. And I share the story when I was 10 in 1980, my best friend, his father was one of the pilots that attempted the Iran rescue, the hostage rescue mission right after Ronald Reagan took office. And unfortunately, it was an utter failure. The helicopters crashed. A lot of Marines and sailors died in the attempt. And the initial word was that his father had been killed. So we went through about 24 hours of him thinking that his dad had died and me being there beside him. And then a little bit later finding out that he had survived, but he had severe burns and trauma to his body. And I was beside him for the next year as he watched his father try and recover from his injuries due to him choosing this line of service. And imagining at age 10, at that point, truly witnessing service and sacrifice and how powerful it was that these men and women were truly willing to die for us. And so at such a young age, to be part of experiencing the pain and suffering of the families that at times unfortunately lose loved ones due to their service, without a doubt made a powerful impression upon me. And it's why today, for me, this organization is all about recognizing the men and women that are willing to put their lives on the line for us daily. And so it's so important for us as a nation not to forget. And it's an utter travesty that we are doing such a poor job in taking care of our men and women in uniform, especially when they come home having experienced trauma. And we so easily dismiss them the way we do. And especially when you talked about the combat veterans that are being kicked out of hotels. I could sit here all day long talking about that. But without a doubt, my life is dedicated to these men and women because of their ultimate willingness to sacrifice for us.
It gives you a much broader appreciation of what our country is about when you grow up around that in proper mentorship. And that's where I think we've lost it. We don't have the mentorship that we have had back then with our kids today. They don't appreciate the freedoms that most people have fought and died for within our country, because they've been handed everything. They haven't had those strong bodies beside them to teach them, so they would appreciate what our heroes do each and every day. My second part of that question was, in 2004, you said you came back. And now you got 30 years retirement. When you left, and here's the big thing with the homeless vets and post-traumatic stress, is the transition process. Have you seen it change from 2004? Now we're in 2023. Have you seen a big change, or is it just little changes?
It's sad to say how right when you think things are improving, you feel like we're taking 3 steps forward and 4 steps back sometimes, right? The unfortunate side of today is that we are beginning to forget about the war on terrorism, right? We're beginning to forget about what it is that our veterans sacrificed for almost 20 years of combat stress between Iraq and Afghanistan. And, now that the wars are, we still have men and women fighting on the front lines all over this globe. And the hard part is seeing people forget, right? Is watching as, we take our eye off the ball when it comes to the needs of our veterans. And the perfect example today of kicking, homeless veterans out of a hotel, men and women that have been willing to, again, serve and die if need be for us. And that in itself is an example of stepping backwards, right?
Right.
I don't think they would have dared to do something like that 10 years ago, 5 years ago. But the eye on the ball has shifted. And that's why it's more critical than ever that organizations like ours, and there's some really amazing nonprofits out there that assist veterans and first responders. It's so much more important today that we, one, support these organizations, and we don't forget what it is that our men and women in uniform do every day. And what's even the biggest travesty is I look at today's first responders, especially those wearing blue, our law enforcement, and I look at them and think about how that's how our servicemen and women were treated after Vietnam, right? They were spat upon. They were called baby killers. You fill in the blank on how they were mistreated. How's that any different than how our men and women in law enforcement are being treated today, right? And so why is it that we're always repeating the same crap when it comes to finding new ways to disrespect the men and women that are willing to give us everything, their lives? And so, it's so disappointing to see that our nation, our government, can't get out of its own way long enough to do a better job in taking care of the men and women that are willing to die for us.
Absolutely. And that's why I think it's, up to groups like Sheepdog Impact Assistance and what we do and so many others we got to fill that void to find purpose again and help them live and lead the best lives that we can. We got to take another quick break, and we're going to get into the specific programming that anybody that's a first responder or veteran can check out with Sheepdog. We will be right back.
Interested in starting a podcast or TV show? Worried about what you'll say and how to keep it engaging? Think you'd like to be a guest on podcast, radio, or TV shows? Hi, I'm Susan Hamilton, owner and founder of OBBM Network, and I would like to invite you to an OBBM media training to get the tools you need for a relaxed and polished performance you'll be proud to share. Our specialized training techniques include role play, voice training, and everything you need to deliver a confident, clear, and engaging interaction. Go to offbeatbusiness.com. Go to the calendar and register for a training that's convenient for you. Dates available now, 214-714-0495.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam, and welcoming Sergeant Major Lance Nutt of Sheepdog Impact Assistance. We talked about grassroots programs, and they are the foundation now, it seems like, to really save our heroes. And the programs that you offer are doing just that, saving our heroes from falling into that rabbit hole, keeping their mission going within their own heads and allowing them to live a normal, semi-normal existence in life.
Yeah, I take pride in where our organization has gone in appreciating the bigger picture, is what we call it, when it comes to mental wellness. We are not a mental health organization. We are a body and mind mental wellness organization that appreciates the need, one, to start by getting our nation's sheepdogs, our veterans and first responders up off the couch, re-engaged in living a more productive, positive lifestyle. And so as an organization that grew out of thinking it was just all about continued service, right? Finding new purpose. We realized that we needed to do more. And it began with getting our veterans and first responders up off the couch, those that had kind of given up on life, and getting them back around like-minded individuals. So we started our outdoor adventure program, where I kind of refer to it as the carrot and the stick. The carrot is, hey, come hang out with us and we're going to take you on something really fun, right? Camping, hiking, canoeing, hunting, snowmobiling, skydiving, scuba diving, you name it. If a veteran or first responder came to us and said, I've always wanted to learn how to basket weave while scuba diving, we'd create it for you, right? Anything that would inspire you to get up. And so through that, we then started talking about the importance of staying off the couch. So it was all about hashtag get off the couch. Well, we quickly realized that our men and women were going on outdoor adventures with us. And as they were leaving, they were saying, oh man, this was so awesome, but now I have to go home. And I don't know how to deal with home. I don't know how to deal with the challenges of everyday life. So we started looking for new ways to kind of treat what we call, again, the big picture mental wellness side of things, where we knew we needed to be able to give them the tools necessary to go home and prepare for living a healthier, more productive life. And we partnered with the Gary Sinise Foundation and the Boulder Crest Foundation in starting a team called the Avalon Action Alliance. And the big funders are the founders of Home Depot in creating what today is referred to as Warrior Path. And Warrior Path teaches veterans and first responders how to use their trauma and take it into growing into what we call post-traumatic growth. So from post-traumatic stress comes post-traumatic growth. It's ultimately learning how to take your trauma and use it as a launching pad into living your best life by using that trauma and appreciating that from it, you have the ability to appreciate the good in life. The things that so many people take for granted, turning on a light switch, flushing a toilet, having hot water, whatever that might be, it's enabling them to understand the importance of what they've been through, they can use to teach others how to live a better life. And, it's a 7-day intense peer-on-peer training program that ultimately gives them the tools they need to live a better, more productive, healthier life. And from that, we also teach the importance of continued service, having a 3 to 5, meaning 3 to 5 people in your life that truly want you to succeed. It's not having people that want to drag you down, encourage you to use drugs, alcohol, whatever that might be. And so through those programs of getting up off the couch, Warrior Path, and continued service, we feel like we've truly found the magic sauce in impacting our veterans and first responders' lives in a positive way.
Yeah, we are huge fans of the Warrior Path program. We've had Josh Goldberg, CEO of Boulder Crest, on before. Next week, we have Eagle Oak Retreat, who has the Warrior Path program out here in Texas. And when you talk about post-traumatic growth, and even the programs that Sheepdog does from the very beginning, it is learning that you are not bound to a couch, if you will, that using your trauma to grow is, I'll say, not a novel concept, but when you tell people that, it's like, I'm using the worst thing in my life to grow. Yes, you are. It's finding your path to be able to do that. And so when you have amazing programs that get you out of your head, that put you with people that have done what you do, or maybe you served in the same unit in the military, whatever it is, or you're from the same city as a first responder. It's learning to come together as a group. It's because trauma is trauma, and utilizing that to propel yourself forward. And, John and I talk about before with, there's a fine line sometimes because, Lance, I'm sure you've seen this with folks that want to dive into the volunteer part. And that's all they want to do. They want to give and give and give and give and give while not kind of addressing what is going on, the stress, the overwhelm, the burnout. Maybe they have a clinical diagnosis, maybe they don't. And you guys do a fantastic job because of the number of years that you've been doing it, first off, but second, you recognize the sign. You can recognize when someone is just like, I need to do this and this and this, and it's that frenetic movement where they're trying to stay distracted rather than finding the juice, if you will, in the program to help them heal. Can you address that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you hit on it when it comes to, we talk about helping is healing. Yes, it's very powerful to help others, but you can't help others until you help yourself. And we talk about how people get on an aircraft and the flight attendant talks about safety and how when the oxygen mask drops out of the ceiling, you've got to first put it on your own face before you start helping others. And that's so very true when it comes to having given so much of your life to service and experience trauma. You've got to know that it's important to first take care of yourself while you're doing the job and you're in the middle of it, and especially afterwards. And so, that trauma piece can be great in helping you to appreciate the challenges of life and that everyone does experience bad. But the unfortunate side right now is that, especially in our veteran community, they're being told that they're victims and or that they're broken. And our fight is getting them to get back on a pedestal where they appreciate that, one, they are the greatest among us. They are the men and women that are willing to serve and sacrifice, and that they've got to start taking pride in who and what they are. And that begins with recognizing their own worth and their own value, and the fact that they still have so much to give, and that they cannot allow their trauma to define their future. They cannot allow their past to define what's going to happen with the rest of their lives. Too many of them give up thinking that because of my trauma, I no longer have anything to give, or I no longer have a life worth living. And we really talk about the importance of what we call the second mountain approach, is that your first mountain in life is where you experience a lot of that pain, but it's also a lot of successes and victories. And you roll all of that into life's experiences. Now, if you bring that to the forefront of your life today, you now have the opportunity to climb what we call your second mountain. That's where you do a 180, you turn around and you start facing your future in a way that enables you to be so much more successful. And so through programs like Warrior Path that do such an amazing job in enabling these men and women for the first time, for many of them in their lives today, to appreciate the value in what they've experienced and the value in using that to launch them into living a much better life.
Yeah, it is absolutely fantastic. Hey, we got to take our next break. We will be right back with Sergeant Major Lance Nutt from Sheepdog Impact Assistance. Stay tuned, everybody.
Hi, welcome to Heroes in Action. I'm Ray Almanat, founder and creator of this training system. I originally made it so that everyone can train for free. We have programs for kids, for women, families, and businesses. I'm an author, speaker, and educator on everything that has to do with violence and bullying prevention education. If you'd like more information about who we are and what our programs are, please go to our website at heroesinaction.us or give me a call if you have any questions at 727-314-2534. We hope to see you here to train.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. Sergeant Major Lance Nutt with Sheepdog Impact Assistance. We're talking about getting off the couch, getting yourself mentally healthy. I have one question, and this is probably the golden nugget question, because I'm just going to say for myself, through some of my traumas, I've become so unmotivated on days, and turns into weeks, and it turns into months, and you become mentally exhausted, right? How do you get someone to take that first step? Because it could, as soon as you take that first step, you're going to see the greatness that's going to follow it. But it's that first step, lifting them off the couch and saying, "Come with me." How do you get that?
That's a great question, and it's actually probably the hardest part in what we do. And that's why I say, we talk about our outdoor adventure being kind of the carrot. It is finding those unique ways to challenge them, right? Because if I say, "Hey, come hang out with us and meet some interesting people, and let's talk about how to live a better life," it's kind of it turns people off, right? It's kind of that preacher mentality where people think, "Oh no, you're just going to tell me, all this preacher stuff about how I need to get up, whatever it might be." But if I say, "Hey, would you like to go hunting? Would you like to go fishing? Would you like to go snowmobiling in Yellowstone?" Yeah, I would love that. That's when you get them. And once we've got them up off the couch, I say the proverbial stick is us just talking about the power behind what they just did, the power behind taking a step forward, and the willingness to get up off the couch and start to do something that's more positive in their lives, right? So it's not easy, based on your question. When someone's in a really dark place and feeling sorry for themselves, whatever that might be, you've got to get creative and encouraging these men and women to trust you enough to take a step forward. And so whether it's the power of friends reaching out and encouraging them to come and do something together, or again, experience something that maybe they've always dreamed of, i.e. a bucket list item, you've got to get creative, because just saying, "Hey, let's hang out," sometimes is not quite enough. But it is a challenge, and it's something that we fight every day.
And that's why awareness, and this is why what we do, all of us, on our the awareness, the sharing of these videos, the sharing of the stories, the bringing forth everything that we're talking about to other people means so much. You don't see these commercials. You don't see these on TV commercials. And I don't know why our networks don't bring this about more, that they show what Sheepdog does. Play it every single day on the TV. Put those commercials out there. It brings me back to, and I'm going to go into a little stick with, remember Stripes? Remember the movie Stripes with Bill Murray? Mm-hmm. Here he's a taxi driver. He can't do 10 push-ups, right? But a commercial on TV uplifts him. Be all you could be, the old Army commercial. And he's like, "I got to do that. I got to get out and do that. I got to change my life." And it motivated him to go do that, right? That's what we need. We need less depression on TV and more of Sheepdog sharing the word, in that on a wide scale venue, not just at seminars. We need it to get into their living rooms. We need people who are sitting on the couch in the living rooms to see this.
Yeah, it's about sharing stories, Lance. Exactly what you said is getting them off the couch first, whether it's a friend, and who doesn't want to do stuff with friends, I met your organization a bunch of years ago at Carry the Load. And you want to talk about an opportunity to meet veterans and first responders, law enforcement officers, folks that get you. That's where I met you guys, and I think it was back in 2015 when I first started participating. And now we get to share where both our organizations are part of the continuum of care. And I want to transition and talk about Carry the Load a little bit, because it's a national stage for I like to call it the mental wellness, that wellness piece, because it with the 5 relays covering 20,000 miles, no matter where you are, you can take time to get out on the road, to walk, to talk. Everybody out there that's part of the relay team, and then what culminates over Memorial Day in Dallas is just, mind-blowingly incredible. But it is a chance to connect. And what I'd like to do now is we're going to show a video about, short video about Carry the Load. And then we're going to talk about the Continuum of Care program, Lance, and how people can get involved. So here we go with Carry the Load.
"11 years ago, 2 Navy SEALs from Dallas thought this would be a good Dallas idea. A solemn procession of the American names and faces lost in our nation's wars, to remind us all what Memorial Day is really about."
I just really appreciate how much this means, not only to Dallas, but the entire nation.
Because the thousands who descend on Reverchon Park Memorial Day weekend are now part of a movement millions strong. 5 relays covering 20,000 miles, spreading the Carry the Load message across the United States, providing financial support for more than 50 organizations dedicated to helping veterans and their families, first responders, police officers, and firefighters too.
Lost many friends in the war, and probably too many to name here, but I carry all of them every day, and we're just humbled and happy to be part of something so great.
I've been able to see veterans move from mourning into celebration and good memories of their fallen comrades. So it's really cathartic and helpful in their process to get through grieving and into celebration.
The moms and dads, the brothers and sisters, the spouses and the children grieving for the loved one they lost will tell you that Reverchon Park on Memorial Day has become a pilgrimage, a place they have to be, a community of people who understand, people who can give them strength to get through one more year.
I'll be here till I can't walk, and this is just something everybody should do at least once, and once you do it once, you can't stop doing it, just like me.
A walk and a Memorial Day mission that they promise will never end. In Dallas, with photographers Alberto Garcia and Sam Cooper, I'm Kevin Reese.
Wow.
So yeah, it is. That's just a snippet of how impactful it is. The gentleman who said, come out. Once you do it once, you'll always want to do it, and he's right. Because every year that I've been doing it since 2015, I have seen it's the same faces, met a lot of new faces, but that. It is a draw that brings us back together, because we have, over those 2 days, we have a group of people who get us. They understand what we've been through. And through the organizations that are part of, it's called the Nonprofit Partners, and we're part of that continuum of care, we get to give back to our veteran and first responder communities through the programs that we offer. And it is unlike any Memorial Day that you will ever spend.
Yeah, it really is. We've, as I mentioned earlier, this will be our 7th year participating in Carry the Load activities and the march there on the Katy Trail. And I tell you what, having an opportunity to remind people about the true meaning of Memorial Day, that, yeah, we want you to enjoy your hamburgers, hot dogs, and cold beverages, but at the same time, take a moment to remember why you're able to enjoy opportunities with friends and family. And, you know, we got to stop taking things for granted. The freedoms that we enjoy today, someone had to pay a price for. And so Memorial Day is truly all about that. And Carry the Load does such an amazing job, one, of helping people remember the true meaning of Memorial Day, but also, to your point, that there are men and women out there that are still struggling, and that we've got to do our best to continue supporting them through whatever recovery effort that might be.
Yeah, and so if you're watching or listening, and come on down to Reverchon Park, Lance will be there with the staff from Sheepdog Impact Assistance. Got these two huge tents. That's your opportunity to connect. That's your opportunity to say, hey, will you walk with me? I have to talk to somebody. That's your opportunity, again, to be around like-minded people, the people that maybe you serve with or that you know from your local police department. It's a chance to heal. It's a chance to be heard. And I know that, like you guys, we all give out our information and we talk about how we can help. And I really want to encourage people to come to the Sheepdog table, because we don't all heal the same way. What worked for Sam, may not work for John, and how Lance healed his stuff may not work for other people that he works with. But the one thing that Carry the Load does is it brings us all together. So like, hey, I'm looking for EMDR. I can find that. Somebody else is like, I don't want to sit on a freaking couch. I want to get out in nature. Boom, Sheepdog. And we all know each other because we've been brought together by Carry the Load twice now prior to the Dallas Memorial March, so that if somebody asks and is looking for a specific program, we can say, yeah, hey, you want to go see Sergeant Major Lance Nutt over there at Sheepdog Impact Assistance. Make sure you introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about what's going on with you. And that's what it means, that nonprofit partner. We are all partners in this big healing and wellness playground together. And it goes a long way.
The one thing I like about Carry the Load and with last year, September 12th, 2001, you never felt so patriotic when all the flags, the American flags, were flying in every household. They were flying everywhere you looked. Reverchon Park turns out to be that same September 12th, where, you get there, you feel the patriotism within your soul as soon as you walk, and you can see those flags. And getting back to mentorship, bring the kids down there. Let them experience what it is. Let them talk to a veteran. Let them learn some history, some real, true life history. If you don't have a mentor in your life, this is a place to get it. This is a place to really feel what America is all about, and the men and women who fought for it so you could have those freedoms. And that's what Carry the Load, to me, has brought to Dallas.
Agreed.
Yeah. Lance, I put up on the screen for everybody that's listening your website. So I've got sheepdogia.org. If you're listening, again, it's sheepdogia.org. How else can people connect with you besides the website?
Website's a great starting point. We are on social media as well, just about every platform. But starting at the website's a great, avenue for locating how to sign up for Warrior Path, signing up for an outdoor adventure, finding a team or chapter, possibly close to where you live. We are a national organization with teams and chapters scattered around the country. And, whatever the need might be, we'd love to do our best to support. And if we can't do it, we try our best, to your point on the partners through Carry the Load. We try to connect veterans and first responders with an organization that might offer avenues of approach and assistance that we don't necessarily have. But I've also stressed that all of our programs are 100% free of charge to the veteran or first responder that would like to participate. So whether it's an outdoor adventure or Warrior Path, it is a zero cost to veterans and first responders that are part of our programs. That includes travel. So I don't want anyone to think that, oh my gosh, I can't afford something like that. We'll make sure that you're taken care of.
Well, that is fantastic. Again, go to the website, sheepdogia.org, start the process. You answered my next question in terms of filling out applications, and the applications are important. They really are. So go ahead and get started there. Lance, any final words?
No, just, maybe the point in saying thank you. I'd like to say thank you to the men and women out there that have served and also that are still serving today. You are not forgotten. And we, as one of many organizations out there that are trying to do our best for you, if you're needing help and you know that you need just a little bit more to get you through the next day, please take time to take care of yourself. Reach out to an organization like ours or another that might be in your community, but don't give up on yourself. You are truly the best among us. You deserve to be heard, and you deserve to be given an opportunity to live your very best life. And I hope that our organization has an opportunity to show you just how much you mean to us.
Oh, that is fantastic and phenomenal. Thank you so much, Lance, for joining us on the podcast tonight. And we will see you in just about, a week and a half.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Same here. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch.
Thank you all.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Wow, just phenomenal. It really is, like you heard Lance say, there's get connected. It's across the U.S. They're national, and so just look them up again. When Lance also talked about being connected and living your best life, guys, we have been. Gosh, this is I think podcast episode 36. Before this, I was looking. It was like Mad Radio. We have done hundreds of these, John, and it is finding what works for you. So we want to thank you just for tuning in each week. If you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate the support. And hey, if you have an organization or business and you want to get on the podcast and run a commercial, we can talk about that too. Reach out to us. It's super easy. You can find us all over social media, Badge of Honor Podcast. And we've got some upcoming events. We've got Walk the Bridge this Sunday. Yeah. Again, that is an international movement. And so we are 3 p.m. Sunday here in most places. But what you want to do to make it easy is just go to walkthebridge.org. Find out where people are walking closest to you, because it is all about smashing the stigma and bringing awareness to suicide epidemic plaguing our first responders and our veteran community. You heard us talk about Carry the Load. That is over Memorial Day. Now, I played the commercial, the video. Thank you, WFAA Channel 8, who's there every year. What you can do and how you can support groups like Sheepdog and us, a Badge of Honor, as nonprofit partners, our continuum, the Continuum of Care programs, is you can visit our website, abadgeofhonor.com. Scroll down, you'll see Carry the Load banner. Click on that, and it'll give you all the information you need. Join a relay if it's coming by you. Again, talk to people, share your story, heal from it. If you're in Dallas, John and I are saying, get your rear end out to Reverchon Park. Come up, introduce yourself to us. We'll introduce you to Lance. We'll introduce you to Eagle. Everybody that we've had on the podcast that this month is part of Memorial May that will be down there with us. If you can't, please donate, because 93 cents of every dollar goes back to programs serving our first responders and our veterans. So it's really, really important. And for all of the events, because we've got them going into June, PTSD 911, incredible fundraiser. That movie, we are selling tickets like hotcakes already. Again, visit abadgeofhonor.com. You can click on the events
It'll be the
tab.
first thing that pops up.
Yep.
Buy your ticket, then scroll the rest of the website.
There you go. And it's only $10. It's a fundraiser. Again, we're providing scholarships to our wellness and resiliency workshop for our first responders and veterans. And so with that, we want to thank Lance again for coming on, and Sheepdog Impact Assistance for everything that we do. For all of the first responders out there, we are praying for you every single day. Know right here, right now, A Badge of Honor and A Badge of Honor podcast, we have got your back. Truly, you need anything, you reach out. You're doing God's work, and we can't thank you enough for keeping us safe here on the home front. For all of our veterans who serve, thank you for giving us the freedom to do this show every week and be able to speak our minds and speak out. And for our active duty personnel across the globe that are still fighting the good fight, thank you so much. You are not forgotten. John, take us home.
Man, you said it all. But to those who are battling right now with Sheepdog, get off the couch. The hardest step is going to be the first one, and they're going to take it from there. Remember, go to Sheepdog and then get off that couch. You can change your life. You can change the life of somebody else's by sharing this. It's the ripple effect. Until that, if you could be anything in this world, please be kind. Thanks, Sam. Have a great night.
Thanks, John. See you next week, everybody. Take care.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBM Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBM Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.